officially live. Yes, we
Officially
are.
live. All right.
Hey. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Kellie.
My name is Janna.
And Johna, tell them who we are.
And we are Mamas Beyond the Matrix.
Yes, Mamas Beyond the Matrix. And let us tell you why we are now coming on to YouTube and doing some lives. Because we have families and we have successfully relocated from the United States here to Medellín Colombia. There are a lot of different families that have done the same thing, but there also are a lot of families that are looking to move and relocate here and need more information because we get questions all the time, right?
All the time.
Yes. So I'm a single parent, actually, and I moved here with my 2 sons. And
I am a mother of 2 toddlers and a husband, and we moved here a little while ago. And we have been living abroad actually since 2021, and we relocated from another country, Mexico. But we love it here in Medellin, and we find it to be one of the places where we feel safe and secure. And many times people back home are asking us several questions. Why Medellin? And you left the United States and you have a family. How is it working? So that's what we're here to talk about today. How is it working out as moms living in a new country here in Medellin, Colombia?
Yes. So we're going to just kind of jump in and give you some just nitty-gritty information based off of our experiences. And hopefully in the future, you guys can join lives in the future. If you have any specific questions, let us know. We can address them if we have the answers, or we can try to research it if we don't. But feel free to join us. We will be here every Friday. That is our goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have a family, sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible, but our goal is to be here every Friday doing a live, unless there's another day that works better for our viewers, then we may have to switch that. But right now we're going to be every Friday around this time doing our lives, talking about relocating to Medellin as a family. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it, right?
Yes.
All right. So why are families choosing to move here over the United States? Why are people from the United States, or even Canada, and we have people from Europe, different parts of Europe as well, but majority are from the United States and Canada. Okay. So why are families choosing to move to Medellin, Colombia?
Well, I want to start by preferencing my first time in Colombia and what that experience was like, because that is ultimately how we ended up here in Medellin. In 2021, my husband and I, we were doing some traveling. We did some backpacking around. And as you all know, that was a time during the pandemic. And there were a lot of places that were not open, but Colombia was open. So we came here a couple of times. And one of the things, Kelly, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with this, I lived in the coastal area of the United States. So born and raised in California, then I moved down south in between Texas and Louisiana. So we know the weather there can get quite hot. So one of the most beautiful things that I love about being here in Medellin is the weather.
Yes.
The weather. Tell me about the weather.
Okay. So I am a person who has always loved the spring.
Mhm.
I love the temperatures before it gets too hot, but it's not too cold. It's that perfect weather. And that is what Medellin is. It is perfect all year around. The only thing that changes is that we have a dry season and a wet season. But typically it's going to rain usually once a day. Even if it's like the drier season, it may rain for just a little bit once a day. It is a tropical area. So that is going to happen versus the wet season where it's going to have more downpours. But they still don't last all day. They may last maybe 30 minutes to an hour, if that, once a day, but still, it's not that big of a deal. And it usually happens around the same time. So you can kind of plan your day around when it will rain. And just be prepared to be inside. During that time, it'll rain for a little bit, then you come back out and continue to enjoy the weather. So during the day, it's nice, sunny, even temperature. It can get a little warm because the sun, can beam a little hard on you, but it's not bad though. It's not scorching hot. You're walking around sweating all day. But as the sun goes down, the nights are really cool
and crisp.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
nice.
Yeah. The mornings are pretty cool and crisp as well. So it's the perfect weather for me. And I can tell you, that before leaving the United States, we didn't really know where we wanted to go. We just knew it was going to be probably Central America, South America, not quite sure. And I actually came on what they call a scouting trip 1 year ago, really, from about today. A little bit less than a year, or a little bit over a year, I'm sorry. And Medellin was not on my list. It was not. Someone had recommended it to me and kind of referred me to someone who was doing the relocation tour. So I was like, you know what? Let me go check it out. I had been to Cartagena, but I was like, I knew I didn't want to go to Cartagena. I was like, no, that's not for me. You know, it was a little too warm, like, you know, and that was more of a party vibe. And I knew I was coming here with my children, so that wasn't the vibe I was on. But when I came here, at first, I'm like, okay, this is not what I expected. I did come with my guards up because, you know, everybody's like, it's dangerous. Colombia's dangerous. So that was kind of in my mind. And I had my guards up for the first maybe couple days. But once I walked around and saw exactly like what it was really like and got a feel for the city, I was like, this is not bad at all. I didn't feel like I was in danger. I have been in the United States in different neighborhoods and places where I felt more in danger than here. So I was like, no, that's not quite it. That, you know, like I hear what people saying, and things do happen here. Don't get us wrong. However, you have to be cautious like you are anywhere else. Even if you were in the United States, there are certain things you do and you do not do. You know where to go and where you do not go. That is going to be universal. Okay. So what do you think?
If you have a little level of street smarts, you'll be okay. I mean, when you leave the United States, you don't leave your street smarts in the United States. You take it with you wherever you go. And I think if you just have a little sense of even situational awareness and just being aware of your surroundings, don't travel to a place and be oblivious and be naive to where you're going and where you're traveling to, and just be aware. I think that is probably one of the top number one safety tips to just take with you wherever you go. Being mindful of being, especially in public places, when there's a lot of people around. Those are the places where you really want to have a heightened sense of awareness and make sure that all your valuables, if you have valuables, because you shouldn't be outside in public with a lot of valuables, but if you have any valuables like your cell phone and your wallet and credit cards and all of that, make sure that it's tucked away. Outside of that, though, the safety here, I agree with you, Kelly. Like, I feel there's a sense of peace here. There's a sense of, man, let me tell you, when we were first visiting here, I noticed that I was coming across a lot of men, a lot of Black men that were traveling here, or just men in general, American men. I'll say American men, because it wasn't just Black American men. And I was trying to figure out, like, what is it about this city? And a lot of people would say probably the women, probably the food, because there's beautiful women here and the food is really delicious as well. But I felt like there was something more. So I did a little digging. And I just started asking questions. And one of the common denominator that resonated, that I kept hearing people, not just men, but women also, but Americans would say, I feel like I can just be. I feel like I can just be. I'm not clutching my purse when I'm crossing the street. I'm not, especially men, I'm not worried about the older lady trying to cross the street and go on the other side because she sees that I'm walking on the same side of the street as her and she feels like it's a threat. I feel like I can literally come here and I can be myself. And I that resonates with me because I feel like since being here and since living in Colombia, I feel like there is a sense of being that I didn't have as an American in America. There's a sense of me that arises here, a sense of more creative version of myself, a more relaxed version, a more soft version of myself, even though I may not resonate with that all the time. But you know, I feel like there's a sense of chill, tranquila here that exists that helps you just be. Be.
That is something you definitely have to get adjusted to. And I can tell you in moments I still have to adjust because we're so used to certain things. I hope you guys can now see our screen and see our logo. So they're not sitting here blank on a black screen. Hopefully this is better. But yes, we'll continue to go ahead and talk. So that's just kind of a little bit about our background. And we'll go ahead and talk about the lifestyle.
Okay.
The lifestyle here and how it's been upgraded. I can tell you mine has been upgraded. You already know.
Okay.
So,
come on, Kellie.
So in the United States, I was working full time, doing my business stuff, washing, cooking, cleaning, dropping kids off. Like I was doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came here, it was affordable for me to get a nanny.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have my nanny. I actually hired my nanny when we came to visit on our scouting trip when I brought the kids over the summer. Mm-hmm. So this was the second scouting trip. I came by myself the first time. And then the kids came over the summer when they got out of school so I could see how they felt about being here. And then once I knew that they were comfortable and okay, that's when we made the decision to officially pack up our house. Within 1 month, pack up the house and come right back. So we left at the beginning of August. And we were back by the beginning of September. Like everything was shut down, gone, done. And we had an apartment here, was ready to start life.
But let's slow down for a second before you talk about your lifestyle, because I remember you were saying, and the people probably want to hear, how did Medellin even become a decision for you? Because you said it wasn't even come top of the list.
Okay, let me back up. Remember I talked about the scouting trip or the location tour. So when I came on that scouting trip, and saw how it was, I felt the energy of the city, really.
Yes,
like just being outside, the sunshine, the people. I was like, I like it. I'm feeling this. And after day number 3, that's when I started getting into like really enjoying and diving in and being like, okay, how do I really feel being here? Mm-hmm. And the trip was 7 days.
Okay.
So by that sixth day, I had the decision. I had made the decision like, okay, this is going to be the place. This is where we're going to come because I felt good about everything. Mm-hmm. During that scouting trip, I was able to look at different neighborhoods. I was able to get prices, kind of get an idea of what prices were for rental properties, what type of rental property I would want. So from that trip, I realized like I didn't want to be in a new building, these new high-rise buildings, because the apartments are small a lot of times, unless you're paying like a lot of money to get a spacious one. But yeah, the apartments are small. So I knew I needed to get into an older building that was kind of rehab because I needed the space. Right. So those are things I was just able to see. We went to the grocery store so I could see, okay, how do I shop here? Okay, they have the same stuff or similar, not as much unhealthy things, but there are some, but it's not as much. Like, in the States, there are like 3 aisles of frozen food, like frozen freezer section. Here, you may see one, if that, and it's not really the same. It's just kind of more for the butters, the cheeses, like
because everything's more fresh.
It's fresh,
it's new,
right?
Yes.
So it's a difference. So I was like, okay, so I could gauge what life would look like with grocery shopping and just daily life on a little bit. So then, that's what kind of made me make the decision. I wanted the kids to be at peace. I wanted them to be themselves. This is a country that really does value children.
Man.
So that's a whole nother topic that we probably have some pros and cons on. Yes. I mean, not the valuing of the children. You should value them, but as far as how they're treated and, the difference between the behavior of our children in the U.S. versus the children here, it is different. And we'll talk about that again some other time. That was really what made me make the decision. I was looking for, like I said, a place that was warm because I did not want to be cold. I do weather. I wanted the cost of living to be reasonable. I wanted to feel comfortable, like I can blend into the community. And being here, no one would know that we're not from here unless we open our mouths, right? So that's the only way they know. Even I get in cars and Ubers and DDs all the time, and the drivers are talking to me and starting to speak Spanish, and I'm like, no entiendo, because I am still learning Spanish. But that was what made me kind of make my decision. Now, you didn't talk about what made you make your decision, though. Let's hear about that before we move into the lifestyle.
So good, good question. So when we came to visit, so during that backpacking time, my husband and I were doing, it was just us. We didn't have any children at the time. And we came to Colombia twice because, again, the borders were open. It was during the pandemic, and we loved it. I mean, and a lot of people don't know this, but during the pandemic, like, it was a shutdown here. Like, you had to use your ID card in order to go to the grocery store.
Okay.
And depending on how your number ended, if it ended in a odd number or even number, would determine if that was your day to go shopping.
So with the passport, it worked the same way as like the little Colombia ID?
Yes.
ID, excuse me.
So we would use both because we're like, okay, which one end with the odd number, which one end with it, so we could go whatever day we wanted to go. That's what we did. But it was shut down. Like, you couldn't leave your house from Thursday to Monday, wherever you were. Unless you were an essential worker, you could not leave. And I think the reason is because this city is so big. I would liken it maybe similar to a New York in terms of the population, but it's so big. During the time they were addressing people who were getting ill and with COVID, they didn't have the capacity for normal accidents, normal people going to the hospital, plus COVID patients. So in order to regulate that, there was a strict shutdown.
Okay.
I preference that to say, even with that, we enjoyed this city so much. The love, the hospitality, the family orientedness here, the greenery. I love nature, and I love being around nature, and the greenery here. Like, it's such a plush city of just being around greenery. The birds, the caterpillars, like, everything is just so colorful here. And the food, the food is good. It's not,
but it's hit or miss. You gotta know where to go.
You have to know where to go.
The seasoning doesn't always hit.
Right.
If you're used to seasoning.
If you're used to seasoning and down south food, it might be an adjustment. But you can find some really good food. It's flavorful. It may not be spice level, but it is flavorful. And that's what we really enjoyed about being here. And so our plan was like, if we don't go back to the United States, where's the place that we want to go to? And Colombia was number one on the list. But during that trip of backpacking, we ended up getting pregnant with our firstborn. And we were making a decision to trek and come back here and start our family here. And there was a very short time frame where they did close their borders. And it was a time that we needed to make the decision.
Okay.
So instead of coming here to Colombia because they closed their borders, we ended up going to Mexico. We lived there for 3 years before coming to our first love, which was here in Colombia. And we just love it. The everything, the culture, family, life here just seems a lot more relaxed than how our lifestyle was in the States. And similar to you, I didn't have children. Your children are a little older than mine, so I didn't have the children back stateside, but I was working 16, 20-hour day shifts, 7 days a week in project management for a well-known nonprofit. And not only that, I had hustles on the side. I was doing real estate on the side, as well as Uber on the side. I would just work. I was just such a workaholic. And I had a family that I was taking care of at the time. I had my younger sisters living with me, and that was just my lifestyle. And to be able to find a place where your money goes further, you can stretch, and we can get into that too. The cost of living here is well,
we're gonna get into that after we talk about lifestyle. So yeah, we'll dive into it.
Okay. But the cost of living, the slower pace here for you to be able to just kind of chill and relax and take it all in and really be present, I think was the most important part of making that shift, is feeling like, man, I could just be present.
Yeah. And breathe. And actually hear yourself think sometimes. Like, I know we are still busy because we are parents. However, it's different. It doesn't feel the same as it did in the United States. I just remember not even having the opportunity just to have a thought to myself, because I'm so busy doing this, got to do this for this kid. I got to remember this for this child. You know what I mean? So it's just so to get here and then to get back to the lifestyle part now, to have a nanny. Yes. To be able to afford a nanny.
Yes.
Is a big deal for me. That is probably one of the main reasons why I'm not even considering going back. Because when people are like, are you going to come back to the States? And I'm like, I mean, eventually, maybe, I don't know. That's not the plan right now. I'm not giving up citizenship or anything like that, but my lifestyle and it's just so much better outside the United States. And I'm not going to even say it's just Colombia. It's outside the United States because I've been in Panama. We spent some time there. I had a nanny there. And, that was my first experience, having a nanny. And like, wow, this is life. This is normal.
Do you think you'd be able to have a nanny back home?
No, because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
There's no way I could afford it. Even when thinking about, okay, with everything going on in the States, I'm like, should I go back home? Because, being close to family, making sure everybody's okay, maybe, collaborating, being collective and like pooling our resources together because things are getting tough in the States.
It's getting tough.
So, I was like, should I go back? But then I thought about it and I was like, but I have to get a car. Again, I got to have a car note. Here we go, getting trapped back into these bills. Got to get a new place. Here we go, getting trapped. I mean, even though, yes, I'm paying rent here. So I would be paying more there. But rent here versus the United States is relative because it could be the same. And definitely my rent here is a little bit more than what I was paying. But however, I'm from St. Louis. The cost of living is not that much, But if you're from a state or a city where your rent is $2,000, $3,000, then coming here maybe a little less. But there are places here that cost that much. It just depends on what you want to live like. Yeah. So, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But there's no way I would be able to have a nanny. And when I say a nanny, it's not just someone who helps take care of the kids. She washes, like the clothes, laundry. She cleans the house. She cooks our food. She helps run errands. She helps take care of the kids. Like she's my right-hand woman, my right-hand person. I couldn't imagine being here by myself and having to do all of the things and figure out the culture and figure out the schooling because things here are different. They're not as easy as far as business or logistics as it is in the United States. Yes. So it's like trying to maneuver all these little things and learning, and I don't know the language quite well yet. Like it's a lot to get adjusted to.
Yes.
So I can say my lifestyle is 10 times better because we also get to go outside more. We don't have winters. We're not stuck in the house in the winter when it's freezing and snowing and ice and all that stuff. So we are outside all the time, we can go to the park anytime. So the kids really enjoy that part. And they have been way more active here outside than they were in the States.
Yeah, because the kids don't play outside like they used to anymore. Not back home. They don't.
Not like
electronics. I mean, I miss that. That's like a forgotten art form almost, like to just go outside and play.
And just be outside half the day or all day. In the summer times, I remember just being outside, like we didn't care how hot it was. We didn't care. We didn't eat. We made run in, get some water, and then we out again. So it's just a different time. But here they have a big family culture. So talk about how big, like all these different things for families, because I know you guys do a lot of different activities.
Man, so, okay. When we decided to move here, so there was some time that passed. The big city, we came from a small beach town, and this is a big adaptation. This is a transition, and I wondered how to transition with the girls because it's city. And it did not take long at all for us to transition. It was a very smooth transition. We were able to get them enrolled into a Montessori daycare, which I absolutely love. And it's one of the top reasons why we ended up staying in Medellin, because I never felt, I don't know, not to say that it doesn't exist, but this level of care and compassion from this facility that cared for our children was just something that resonated with me, and it was a big piece of the puzzle for me, because I'm not the type of person who wants to be away from my children, and then when I am away from my children, I want to be able to trust that they are in good hands. And I never worried about them being at this institution, whereas I do know some places back home, and it could be here too. It could be anywhere and everywhere that you go, where you get that sense of, I'm just here for this paycheck. I'm just here. And, I don't want obligatory people to be working around my children.
Yeah.
I want there to be a passion, a love, and a heart for children. If you're working around my children, and if I ever sense that it feels more like an obligation, I'm probably gonna step back because I don't want my children to be in an environment where they feel like they're an obligation and not cherished, not cherished as little individuals. And so one of the things that I quickly learned being here when we first moved here is no matter where we go, and I'm sure you can attest to this, when we lived in Mexico, we had to plan. We were very strategic. We had to plan with other parents and go out because there wasn't an abundance where we lived in Mexico. It wasn't an abundance of things to do with children. Here, I don't care what day it is, where we go. If we decide to go out with our children, we don't have to plan. We will just run into things for them to do because it's such a family oriented place. Going to the malls, going to even the little shopping centers, going to the parks. Obviously the parks are designed for children, but I mean, even if we were going to a restaurant, they'll come and they'll say, oh, they'll bring them crowns and papers. And I know that happens too back home. But I'm not asking for them to do it either. They'll just come and you have children, and they'll come do it. And that's another sense of cherish for the children. They don't talk to us, just the parents, when we go sit down at restaurants. They're engaging our children as well and treating them like little individuals. And I don't know if that's as common back home, back in the States. It happens, but I don't know if it's as common. And whenever you go out, one of the things that I love to see is families here, the local Colombian families here are out with their entire families.
Yes.
You see them in groups of 7, 8, from the newborn baby to the elder of the family, the grandfather, the great-grandfather, or the grandmother, the great-grandmother. And there's always someone within the family who's locked arms with the elderly, helping them walk. If it's not, they have a helper that's there with them, helping their the older family around. But they're a close-knit group of a culture here. They really, really value family here. And that was something that I love to see because I want my children to see that. I want them to see the value of valuing the elders in the community, but also feeling valued themselves, not just you're to be seen and not heard, but like engaging children and treating them like little individuals.
Yes, definitely. And that was another selling point for me too, because I mean, that's not just Medellin, but being outside of the United States, I wanted my boys to be themselves and be able to be themselves. And I might have said this a little bit earlier, but that was really important to me. Like, I didn't want them to have to suppress their personalities just based off of how they look so that they can survive, basically, because that's really what it is. We have to teach our children to act a certain way so that they can be safe and make it home at night. And I didn't want that for them. I wanted them to be exactly who they were created to be. And yes, they can be a little bit rambunctious.
As they should. Your children know, as they should.
Yes, sometimes I'm like, I gotta reel you back in, but they are who they are, So that's one thing I value.
How did they enjoy you? So you talked about your first trip coming here and scouting, and then the second time you came with the children. How did they enjoy that experience?
They enjoyed it, but that trip was, because we were here 2 months.
Okay.
So that was more of a kind of vacation / living, because we did way more activities, because of course I'm trying to sell them on the
right.
Like, look what we have to do, look what's available, yada yada yada. So they enjoyed it. Of course, you just give them a swimming pool and they can they're okay. Stay in the pool all day, feed them, and they're okay. But being able, when we found like the parks, now this was after we kind of got back here, but finding a park that we all like, that they really can play in, because parks can be hit or miss here. It's not what we're used to in the United States.
True.
Once we started really identifying and doing things that they felt familiar, like the bounce houses or bounce places, and the parks and just the movies, they could see that it was very similar. Another language, yes, but we could still do the same things that we were doing plus more
Back home. Yeah.
here than we could back home. So they were okay with coming on and moving and like, all right, let's go, new adventure. We looked at some schools before we left to go back to the States. So they got an idea or a taste of what school could look like. So they were just like, let's try. And, they were like 1 year, because that's what I said. 1 year, and we'll see how we feel, because I have to just, again, they're kids.
Right.
But yeah, they were like, they were good to go. Good to go. I mean, they like to travel. So again, it was like another adventure for them. So yeah. Okay. So I talked about the lifestyle upgrade as far as the nanny is concerned.
Yes.
We talked about the weather a little bit.
Okay. Yes.
Let's talk about being outdoors. We talked about it just a little bit, but let's talk a little bit more about how it is to be able to be outdoors and the culture of health here as far as staying fit. And what we see that we don't see in the States.
Oh, yes.
Go out. Yeah, you share that.
Okay. So this city, one of the things I really like, it really is family oriented. Where I really feel like whenever you go out, you really feel that sense and that essence of family. But one of the things also is there's parts here that have, and I know you know the Berlin part too, but there's several of them around the city where they have free gyms. They're free outdoor gyms, and so to me that's another value add because it's a value in our health where, okay, if you want to get a fitness subscription, you can actually go to the gym. They have several of them here. Yes. But if you don't, you can still get a quality workout at the outdoor gyms. And they have some pretty elaborate equipment at these parks where you don't need a gym membership. Not only that, but we're talking about health and fitness. You know my family, and we go together. But every Sunday here, so let me preface this. When we first moved here, it was on a Saturday. I remember we flew in. It was a Saturday, and we were in a hotel for a few days, and we were in the Poblado area, and we were at the Marriott actually. And we looked out the window, and we're like, man, it's a 5K run going on. Like, how long is that going to be? Come to find out, they do this every Sunday.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, they shut down the roads, not just in one area, but in 5 areas of the city. They shut down a part of the road, and families from all over the city come out with their dogs, with their children, in the strollers, in the carriers, and it's a day of just health and fitness. Now, this is also a country in a city that is really big on religion, is really big on spirituality. And so you will see a lot of families, Christian families, Catholic families that are going to church, but also families who are honoring their fitness. You'll see them out, and it's called the Ciclovia.
Yep.
Every Sunday in 5 different areas of the city it's shut down, and people are walking and strolling and running and skipping along with their families and their dogs.
And biking and roller skating or rollerblading. Like, it's all kind of activities going on. You don't just have to walk. I mean, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay. So it's a wonderful thing to see so many people out. Of course, the sun is shining, the weather is nice, and we just get out and just talk and walk and just enjoy each other's company. They have vendors.
I was gonna say the vendors.
Yeah, they have vendors selling things. We always get our sugar cane juice.
Sugar cane. Oh my goodness, it's so refreshing.
Yes.
With some lime juice.
Yes.
Oh my
God. Like that's just
our
thing.
Now.
Look, we probably go on Sunday like, okay, we're here. We got our sugar cane juice. But that's another part of the lifestyle. So you see from young to old out walking, not just at the Ciclovia, but on a daily basis. You will see older people walking, and they're still fit. Like people, my mom's like 70s, 80s. They are still out walking. And you see some people who may have a cane or a walker or a wheelchair, but it's not as many as you would think. Not at all.
That's true.
And I think it's just because of the lifestyle. The fact that the food is healthier and fresher and they don't allow the animals to be injected with antibiotics and steroids and all that stuff that, like there's a lot of things with the food that they just do not allow. So just that alone keeps you healthier and fresh, and vibrant. On top of walking, because your neighborhood has everything. So you can walk to the grocery store, walk to get something printed, anything you want, you can walk to if you're in certain neighborhoods. Like we live in like somewhere Loreles, or a little bit outside of Loreles where it's still pretty flat. So those are really, really walkable areas. There are some parts of the city that have a lot of hills and it may not be as walkable, but you choose where you want to live based off of your lifestyle. I chose this area because I knew I wanted to be able to walk to wherever I wanted to.
Yeah, let's talk about that too, because you touch on a really good point, because back home, I know where I lived in a metroplex city. I lived in Houston when I was living back in the States, and anybody know anything about Houston, unless you live in the inner loop, in the inner city, you need a vehicle.
Yeah.
You need a vehicle to get practically anywhere and everywhere. And it's such a massive city. But one of the really beautiful pieces about Houston is, like, even though it's such a big city, no matter where you live in your community, you can pretty much find any and everything that you need. But the difference is, you still need a car. You still need a car because it's such a land mass of a place. Even though everything is in the community, it's not walkable. A lot of places are not just walkable unless you live inner city. And that's one of the beautiful things about here is you don't necessarily have to have your own transportation. There are some people who move here and they do have their own. And if you don't, it forces you to create a certain lifestyle where you're more physical, you're moving your body more, because you go to the grocery store. You need to walk to go get your essentials, or maybe even go to the fruit market and pick up some produce. It's now an experience where it's an errand, but now it's also moving your body in the midst of running errands. And I think that also pours back into the being healthy and staying healthy. We definitely walk way more, and we love it. My family is a walking family. We love to walk. We love to walk.
So I love to walk. Now the boys, they'll walk, but then they start complaining. Well, I'm like, they're used to being driven around. I know your girls were born outside of the United States, so they were born into, we walking, we doing this, we get in the car, but my boys are used to hopping in a car and being driven everywhere. So they will complain, but I'm like, look, keep it moving, because we're walking. We're not getting in a car to walk, to go somewhere that's 10 minutes away. We're not doing that. So let's go. We're going to the grocery store, get ready. You're carrying bags back.
Okay, let's talk about this, because we also have we mamas, and we also have to address the fact that this new generation also is a little bit entitled.
Oh yes.
Let me give you an example. So when I was young, when I was in elementary school, junior high, I was a latchkey kid. So I walked to and from school, and that walk was maybe 35 minutes, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't, unless it was a really hot day, it was a cool walk. My niece back home is 13 years old. Her school is she moved now, so it's not as close, but her school was probably about 10 minutes from where she lived. So, and I think that's a 10-minute walk, 10 to 12-minute walk. My mom, because they didn't have the right setup for her to go to school, I guess because she didn't walk, would drive from across, and she still does, across the city to go pick up my niece to drive her to school.
That's 10 minutes away.
That's 10 minutes away. My mom drives 45 minutes she drives about 25 minutes. If traffic, maybe 35 to 40 minutes across the city to pick up my niece to take her to school. That might take her a 15-minute walk.
Okay. So is it a safety concern, or is it just your niece doesn't want to walk?
It could be a little bit of both.
Because, we do have to acknowledge that in the States it's a little bit different, where we have to have more eyes on our children than we do here.
It could be a little bit of both. Honestly, it could be a little bit of both. But it blows my mind because I remember I'm like when I was young, I was walking in her age, younger than her. And I know that we live in different times now, and especially with our girls, boys, I'm not even going to say girls, our children in general, we have to be very vigilant. And so it's sad to say that the culture is what it is. So I understand safety is top priority. I mean, safety is always going to be top priority. So guess what? If I was grandma too and I have to drive across the city, I'm probably going to do it as well. But getting back to being here in Medellin and having everything just walkable and getting our children even acclimated to being more physical.
Yeah.
And of course, we use cars as well. Yeah. But if it's a beautiful day outside and it's not raining, we walking. If it's within 25, 30 minutes, we are walking. And we love it. And we love it. Pushing our strollers and everything.
And it also is a good way to learn the neighborhood, learn the community. Because I know when you're in a car, it's so many little businesses lined up. You can't always see, well, what is this? What is that? But when you're walking, you're able to say, oh, that's the print place. Or, oh, that's where I can get keys made. Oh, because this is also a culture of entrepreneurship. You know, everybody has, not everybody, but a lot of people have just their own businesses where they do their own thing. That's normal. We're not used to that in the United States. Yes, we are used to entrepreneurship, but not to this level where we have a lot of smaller mom and pop businesses still in existence and they haven't been taken over by the big box stores.
The level of commerce that is happening just below our feet on the street a lot of times with the vendors and the small business, and my husband had brought that to my attention. He was like, man, are you paying attention to what's going on? We're just walking down the street. And he was like, look, there's a mechanic shop right there. Not only is a mechanic shop, then there's the Moto shop, like that's on the corner. You got a barber shop right here, just on this one little side block street. You got the corner fruit market. You got a cafe. And it's wherever you walk and go here. And to your point, if you're in a car, you don't see as much, but walking slows you down. It makes you more present to see. But not only that, I think it makes us more communal too, because now that you know that there's a print shop like 2 minutes down from where you live, you go there, they know your face, they know you. I feel like when I go places to the grocery store, I did this in the States too. So this mentality is not separate from who I was back in the United States, but my bankers, my grocery store people, maybe where I would get my car washed, I knew their names. I made it a point to, if I'm going to frequent these places, you're going to know my name and I'm going to know your name, because this is how community is built. Yeah. And I think even more so here, because we walk a lot of places. So the corner markets and you just start to develop and they know that we're foreigners a lot of times, but you start to still develop a relationship, even if it's just a wave, and they see you wave and they wave back at you, they know you're a part of the community.
Definitely.
And back home, sometimes this is my space. I mean, a lot of people don't even know their neighbors, their next door neighbors. You wave to them and you don't even know their name and have been living next to them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and do not even know your neighbor's name.
Yeah. I can say in the States, I wasn't that had to know your name or you had to know my face, but here I definitely was intentional about making sure that people in my community, the local businesses, knew who we were. Like the security guards that patrol the streets. Oh yes, they know my sons. They know because they're going to wave, they're going to say hi off the balcony, they're going to, so they know exactly who we are. And when I'm out and about walking, I'm going to always speak to the security guard so they know we're here, we're supposed to be here, and you can watch out for us. And I like that. Our neighbors, we may not know their name, but we always speak. They know we're supposed to be here. Like to your point, the restaurants at the corner, the grocery stores, they know who we are. May not know our names, but they know we are here in the community. And that's one thing that I do love that kind of make me kind of hesitate about moving out of my current apartment, because I'm like, we've kind of established ourselves in the community. They know us. Now we got to do this all over again, and it's okay. You got to do what you got to do. But I do really love that aspect of, people know us. They know we're supposed to be here. They're used to seeing us at the grocery store. They know, like, when I say everybody know the boys because they loud.
Yeah. It was the same with our girls. So we recently moved from our first place to our second place here in Medellin. And that was one thing I was a little disheartened about because we had a routine. We walked our girls to school and it was the same people every day. We passed this little restaurant and the people workers, hey, they're waving at the girls are waving. We passed the little corner, we passed the little shops and people are waving. There's a print shop right on the same street as this school. And the lady, her name's Miss Andy, and she would always, hello girls. And they're like, hello, good morning. It was a routine. Mm-hmm. It was a routine. And I mean, we still have the same routine at our new place. But it's something you get used to.
Yeah.
And back home when you're driving everywhere and like you're in that, gotta get here. Okay, we got the kids up, we got them in the car, we're getting them to school. And the mindset is just, that's part of being present, slowing down, saying good morning, saying hello.
You definitely have to be more intentional and think about it when you are transitioning from the States. Because we're not used to always, depending on where you're from in the States, but speaking to everyone and having a conversation and, like really stopping what you're doing when you're trying to get somewhere and have a conversation with someone, because that's the part of the culture,
Yes.
Or you're walking down the street and there's some older men at the store and they see the boys, they want to buy them some juice or something. Just strangers, we don't know them, they just want to do it. So just taking your time to stop to let that happen. You really have to, like you said earlier, slow down and just go with the flow and understand that this is life now. It's different and we have to adjust to the culture. And it's a good adjustment. It's not bad, but we do have to adjust from what we're used to, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And that's a part of breaking out of the matrix.
It is.
It's a part of breaking out of the matrix. And one of the things I think that there are a lot of people who know and understand we are living in a matrix, right?
Yeah.
And then as a U.S. citizen, it's even in a capitalist society, it's even more so understood. And some people are just so deep into it that they just don't even come up for a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. And there's people who understand that this exists and I'm part of it, but I'm trying to break out. And then there's people who actually who are breaking out and breaking out of the cycles of how we have been conditioned to do life. And then there's other people who break out in other ways like us who just leave. And when you do, I think it gives you a completely different picture of understanding how deep in the matrix we were, how deep in this system we were and may not have even realized it. Mm-hmm. And everything that you're saying right now and slowing down and readapting to a new culture is reprogramming our brains to function so differently outside of the 1, 2, 3, do this, do that, and so regimented that it makes us more relatable.
Mm-hmm. and adaptable
mm-hmm. and human.
Yeah, because you can connect with people even if I don't speak enough Spanish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like my Spanish is I'm on the struggle bus, you guys. I'm trying, but I'm on the struggle bus. But even still, I know that whomever is speaking to me in Spanish, that they are genuinely wanting to speak to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I'm just trying to get something out of you or I'm trying to, that happens too. But
yeah.
But most of the time when somebody's really trying to have a conversation or say something to you, it's a genuine something, a genuine tip, a genuine, something, a compliment, whatever it may be, right? So there's a difference.
I want to talk about that a little bit with you. Now, I know a little more Spanish than you, so
a lot more Spanish, don't say a little.
The adaptability is a little different, but being that this is not your first language, it's not mine either, do you feel like you have to know Spanish to live here? Do you feel like that?
I do.
You do?
I feel that way because of the children and all the things I need to do with them. I feel like if I was here as a single person, it would be important because I do believe any country you go to, you should at least know a basic level out of respect to be able to communicate with the community and kind of get ingrained. But it's way more important with the kids because I'm dealing with schools. Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with, playing sports and the teams and this and that. Like I'm dealing with way more things than a single person would be doing. If I was here single, it's easy to sit in your house, do your work, and go out with other expats and speak English, and that could be your life, you know? If that's what you choose, which I wouldn't recommend. If you're in another country, you should be able to, you know, embrace where you are, right, and adapt and, you know, be a part of that country and that culture. But yeah, I feel like it's mandatory. I've gotten by this long not speaking as much as I would like, but I am definitely at the point to where it's like, okay, you got to get it together. Like, this is ridiculous. You need to be able to talk, because I'm interacting with the same people all the time, but I can't speak to them because I don't know the language well enough. But I'm seeing people almost on a daily basis at football practices or, you know, whatever. Even my nanny, she does not speak English. So interacting with her on a regular basis. But you manage how to communicate. I managed it, yes. You can manage with Google Translate and this and that, but it's so much better when you can speak the language. It makes things easier.
It does. It does. It does. It makes things a lot easier, and you can relate a lot better to the land that you're living in. It does. I just think that in a place like here, it's important, to your point, it is really important to learn the language of the land wherever you are. And I mean, we see it a lot of times, even back home in the United States. There's people who live there for years and years and don't know how to speak English. I really believe people do know how to speak English. They're not comfortable. And I feel like us, generally speaking, as Americans, don't make it easy for foreigners to want to speak to us.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not all the time. Yeah, you know. And I feel like, depending on, I mean, because you can get that same vibe here in Colombia. I don't feel like it's as frequent, as often. I feel like people, if you try, they are willing to stretch and go as far as you are trying to go in Spanish. I think that they are working. They'll work with you. They'll work with you.
Yeah, definitely. I know that there is definitely people who have that attitude of, and this is right. You're in my country. You should be speaking my language. Just like in the United States, we would say the same thing. You're in my country. You need to be speaking English. Okay, you're in Colombia. You need to be speaking Spanish. Like, don't expect a Colombian person to speak English to you, because a lot of Colombian people do not know English at all. So don't think that they're going to adapt to you. You have to adapt to them and do whatever it takes. You have to extend yourself to make sure that you fit in, not the other way around. Right? So don't bring that attitude of, you know, I'm entitled, I'm American, I speak English, yada, yada, yada. You need to bend for me. No, you have to bend for them. You're in their country, right?
Yes.
So we talked about the weather, being outdoors, a slower pace of living. Let's get into the cost of living, because you know a lot of people want to know about cost of living, and we cannot give you some like exact numbers because everybody's different, right? We can give you what our experiences, or what we can we pay for things. But there are people who pay way more than what we pay. There are people who pay way less than what we pay for different things. So let's just talk about the major things, because the major costs are going to be your rent, transportation seems to be major for me, and groceries. Oh my goodness, groceries are way more, and that has been a shocking challenge for me. They're way more than I thought. I feel like I'm spending about the same that I spent in the States
for groceries.
And I thought it would be way cheaper. And I've tried to figure it out, but I was like, I don't think there's a workaround here. I think this is just what it is, and I need to accept it. So let's go ahead and start with rent. That's the highest cost.
Okay.
So for example, I'll talk for myself, and you can kind of share your journey and stories. But for me, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, very spacious apartment in a older building. We don't have an elevator. It's a walk up. We're on the 3rd floor. However, our apartment is much more spacious than you would see in some of these nicer, newer high rises. I pay at this point the equivalent of a little bit over $1,200, maybe going on $1,300, because the dollar is dropping, which is something you guys got to consider. When you move abroad, the value of the dollar is dropping. So my rent has increased because of that. When I initially moved in, it was about $1,100. And now it's kind of creeping up towards 13. However, I am about to move. So we're moving into a smaller place. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And this one is actually through Airbnb. Now, the apartment I'm in now is a direct lease. I got a lease with the owner, so that's the price. And it was furnished, so let me say that because there are cheaper ways to live as well if you get unfurnished. But this apartment was furnished. My next place is also a furnished place, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I actually booked it through Airbnb because it was just a challenge for me to find something furnished at the price I was trying to find it. And I happened to find this place and it fit my budget because I wanted to spend less because the dollar is dropping. I'm like, there's no reason, or that doesn't make sense for me to be in another country and I'm paying way more than I would be paying if I was in my own hometown for rent. I came here to save money and to have, some things to be cheaper. So we had to make that adjustment. So my next place, on average, because I booked it for 6 months. So basically, on average, it comes out, let's just say $860. But that includes a furnished apartment, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I don't need to buy anything for the kitchen. It includes my utilities, my internet. So that's all in versus where I am now, paying between $1,200 and $1,300. I'm still paying utilities and I'm still paying internet separate outside of that. So that's still even more money. Even though it's not a lot, but it's still more money on top of that. So I can say my utilities here are the equivalent of about $130. That's for the electric, the gas, and the water. That's all included in one bill. My internet bill is about, I want to say maybe $30, maybe, if that. So again, these bills aren't extremely high compared to what I was paying in the United States. However, that rent, I was like, we just gotta adjust that. But again, I know people who are paying $2,000 or more for rent. So and some are paying way less. So you talk about your experience.
You can definitely pay the same or more prices here as a foreigner, like you would in the United States. So when we first moved here, let's just say right now, today, the American dollar, $1 is equivalent to almost 4,000 pesos here. So that's $1 for 4,000 pesos. So $20 would be like 80,000 pesos.
I was gonna say, I think it's less now. It's 3.
It's 3. It's almost 4,000, but just to round up, I'm just rounding up. It's almost $4,000. 4,000 pesos. It is a little less. I think it's like 3,600 pesos, something like that. But I'm just rounding up because we never know at the time what the conversion is going to be. So when we first moved here, we were living in a hotel, in an Airbnb, until we decided we were looking for a place, and we found a place. We found a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. And I have a family of 4. I have 2 toddlers, so who share a room together. So we didn't need all of that space, but it was still reasonable because we paid about 4.3 mil, which is about $1,100. And we actually, when we rented that place, we rented private through, we found the place off of Facebook Marketplace. And it included our electricity and our, let me preference that. It included our internet and it included our utilities up to 300,000 pesos. So after 300,000 pesos, if we went over, then we would pay the difference. But included in our rent was 300,000 pesos a month for our utilities. Now, because my husband and I, we both work from home and we are at home all day, our electric bill is probably a lot higher than a lot of local people who live here. But there were just a few months when we had to pay actually the overage of 300 pesos, which wasn't often. I mean, we lived there for a year and we may have maybe 4 months out of that paid a surplus for the electricity, for all of our utilities. Because like you said, it includes the water, the gas, all of it. We have since moved. We decided to downsize because we didn't need that space. And this was a fully furnished 5-bedroom, 4-bath. And it was a triplex. So here in Colombia, you will find a lot of high rises. You will find a lot of buildings. And one of the things we did not want to do was for us at the time, because we have small children, we didn't want to move into a high rise building. So it fit our style of living at the time. A triplex was kind of like a duplex, but it had a third bottom, like kind of basement filled apartment. So it was 3 different units. We now live in a home on the first floor. It's kind of like a duplex too, but the duplexes and triplexes here are a little different because they're like multi-level and not always side by side.
Uh-huh.
And I know sometimes on the East Coast you'll find those like that as well. I'm not used to that being down south, and on the West Coast it's usually side by side.
Yeah.
So we live on the first floor level, and we have a 3-bedroom. We have a 3.5 bedroom, 2 bath now. And I say 3.5 because it's really a 3-bedroom with a maid's quarter. So that room is pretty small. And we pay about $750 as opposed to $1,100.
Yeah.
And that's just for the rent. It doesn't include the utilities, but the utilities, I don't know, since we just moved, I don't even know if we have an accurate bill yet for utilities for me to give feedback on that. But yeah, it's reasonably, but unfurnished. Let me preface that, unfurnished, because
tell them what unfurnished means here in Colombia, because people don't know that.
Unfurnished means nothing. You get the space, but you have to get your utilities. Well, it came with the stove, and that was it. I think it came with the stove, and that's it. We had to get our washer and dryer. We don't have a dryer because we just hang our clothes, and a lot of times out of the country, that's what you do. We have a washer. We had to get our refrigerator. We had to get our oven, and our furniture. So our beds, our sofa, our table, our plants, all of that. So our lamps, everything. So it's like a unit, like an apartment that you want to rent back, home that it doesn't come with anything, but it'll come with your appliances. Yeah, it'll come with your appliances, but yeah, minus the appliances. So we had to get that. So, but without the furniture, $750. So we've had to piecemeal and furnish our place. And sometimes you can get some really good stuff secondhand. We found some nice things secondhand. We got some things new as well. And so that would be the difference. So it's kind of interesting to hear that you found a place for about $800, fully furnished. So you can find, and that's a 3-bedroom, right?
It's two bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find, it's just a matter of looking, and then also finding the people who can help you look too. Yeah. If you know someone here, you befriend a Colombian, they are so friendly. Mm-hmm. Like, they are so friendly. It's almost like when they realize, in my experience, when they realize that you're here and you're really trying to just live here and be a part of the community and culture, I feel like they will go out their way to help you.
Yeah.
I feel like they will really go out their way to help you. We had some of our daughter's parents from her classmate who helped us, and we told them we were having a difficult time finding a place we were looking for a long time, and they were like, okay, well, we'll help make the phone calls, and they were sending us places and went with us to go look for some places. And I was like, wow, you didn't have to do that. They even allowed us to store some stuff at their place because we were in transient position from our old place. We went from an Airbnb until we moved into our new place, and they were just so nice. Mm-hmm. So we're so cool with them to this day. But
yeah, like that is one thing I see as far as like we were talking about the apartments. It's a variety, it's a range, you know. I can tell you, like, so Janna's new apartment and my new apartment, we're not really in the popular touristy areas
at all,
but we're right outside of it. And it's still a very safe neighborhood, very, local. I feel comfortable, and I know you guys do too, because you want to move there if you did. Mm-hmm. So that is one caveat. Like, you will hear people say, hey, if you move to Medellin, go to Poblado or Envigado or Laureles. And yes, that's good. Don't get me wrong. And I would suggest, if you are new here, to go to those places to find the expat community and be able to build that community. But once you get comfortable, you may want to explore a little bit outside of those areas, because there are some still nice places, and that will be more reasonable if you kind of go outside of those areas. So that's one thing. Now let's talk. We talked about rent, for example. So we gave that. Let's talk about transportation and groceries, because those are the next two highest costs.
Okay.
So for transportation, I feel like I'm paying a car note.
You do?
I do. I feel like I'm paying a car note, but I think it's because of the kids having to be transported almost every day back and forth to football. Like I can stay in the house, but when it comes to them, it's always something. Yeah. Plus, I have to pay for transport for their school. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. They don't have public school buses. Like if you enroll your kid into a school, they don't automatically have a school bus. You have to pay for transportation. Mm-hmm. So when I say I feel like I'm paying a car note, it's because I'm paying for two kids to be transported to school back and forth, on top of the ride share app cars, mm-hmm. that I have to get on almost a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So I'm at the point where I'm probably going to get a scooter, mm-hmm. a little, electric scooter to roll out in to cut down on some costs. But I spend a good, probably around $400. I say a car note, but that's a cheap car note, but I mean, still, it's a car note. Mm-hmm. Oh, a little bit, $400, or you can spend more if you go out more. Mm-hmm. I'm not a person that goes out at night at parties and does this and that, so I know mm-hmm. people will spend more if they are running errands, going hanging out on a regular basis and not walking and continually taking cars everywhere they go. I know you can spend more, but yeah, I spend about that much on ride shares. And then the school bus is probably another, when I convert it, so it's 260,000 pesos per child. So that's what, so probably about a little bit over, it's a little bit over 100, probably like $120 mm-hmm. together mm-hmm. total. For the school bus. Okay. Yeah, so something like that. I may not be converting that correctly, but put it all together.
Yeah, that's a lot. I didn't know you were paying that much for transportation. That's a bit much. Yeah. I think I probably pay 10% of that for transportation. Okay. But our lives are a lot different too, because of how your boys go to school. My girls go to, it's a 3-minute walk from my house. Right. So that cost is cut out because we walk them and we pick them up from school and we work from home. So it's not a whole lot of traveling. The traveling that we do is very intentional. So if we want to go co-working, or if we're meeting up with different groups, or if there's something that's going on, an event across town, I don't think I pay more than $50, I think, a month for transportation, because a lot of the rides too, one way are like $2, as opposed to like in the States. I mean, it's a lot more than that for the distance that we go. And I don't even know what that cost would be, especially with the gas prices being up now in the United States. Yeah. I know like a 15-minute ride could be more than $20 probably in the United States. Here, you're probably looking at $3-4 maybe. Right. For a 15-minute ride across the town. But yeah, no, I don't personally spend a whole lot on transportation because of our lifestyle does not at this moment require us to travel all around the city. And a lot of things that we do need to do, again, as long as the weather is good and it's within 30 minutes walking, we're going to walk there. So even a lot of places like the cafes and places that we would go to co-work, we'll walk there as long as the weather is good. Okay. And if I'm not in a rush to be there, I will walk. And there are a few families, I only know of one family, but I know there's probably more that actually have a car here. Mm-hmm. They bought a car here and they drive. Now, I don't want to do that. Oh, yeah. I don't feel comfortable driving here. But there are people who do it and they feel comfortable. So talk about safety. I don't know if I would feel safe driving here either. I don't. It's a different being accustomed to driving as an American. It will definitely. I feel like I get more accidents because I'm trying to follow the rules of the United States, and this is not what they do here. Mm-mm. And I still get confused even at the traffic lights sometimes when they have those roundabouts and those lights. And I'm like, okay, the light is green, shouldn't we be going? But the car's still stopping. And I'm like, I don't understand who's supposed to go. No, yeah, who has the right of way? Even at the four crossway, I don't know who has the right of way because I'm used to the person on the right
has the right of way.
You know, stop signs here are just they're suggestions.
Yeah,
they're not mandatory.
And they're not always there either.
No, they're not. So in terms of safety and driving, I'm okay with getting the car. I'm okay. Have you gotten on the Moto yet?
I have not. If I was single, I would I would have gotten on a Moto by now. But because I know I'm the only one here, and if anything happens to me and these kids, like that's a problem. So I won't even risk it. Even though I would love to hop on one and zip through the city, get through. Maybe when the kids are gone, the summer, and I'm here by myself, that I'll probably hop on a Moto and ride out, but I haven't done it yet because I'm like, I gotta make it home.
Yeah, I gotta make it home.
I gotta make it home. That's one thing that is different because when you're in the States, you got friends, you got family. So if anything was to happen to you, somebody gonna step in and grab your kids and make sure they're okay. When you're out the country, who's stepping in if you don't have a spouse? Or if you and your right, but I mean, again, if something happens, let's just say you're in a car accident and you and Jeff are in a car accident and your kids are not with you.
This is a whole nother
topic, right? But I'm just saying those are things you got to think about. We don't get into it now, but like, so for me, by myself, nobody's here. So if I get in a car accident while these kids are at school, who's going to be here? Who's going to even know to get them from the bus and make sure nobody. And if I can't communicate or call my nanny or somebody to help, who's gonna? What happens? You know what I mean? Again, whole nother story. So I don't risk it at this time. But no.
Okay.
So now let's move on to groceries.
Okay.
I feel like my groceries are high. I spend over $500 on groceries. I have 2 little boys that eat a lot. On top of myself, and then of course when the nanny's here, she eats too. I'm spending money on groceries. That's not even considering eating out. We don't eat out that often, but
I feel like we spend probably about the same. I feel like we spend probably average about $100 a week on groceries, and we have small children, so they don't have as big of an appetite as your growing boys, but they still like to eat. And we do a lot of cooking at home. There's also some meal prep services that we do use. We just started putting them back in rotation and kind of help with our flow for the weeks and meal prep. But I feel like we're averaging about 100, probably a little more than 100 a week. So maybe about close to 500.
Yeah, and even I've done meal prep as well, and it is very helpful. So that's another tip, you guys, that there are plenty of places that will do meal prep for you. And it's very reasonable depending on who you're ordering for, what kind of food you're getting. But it is helpful because those times where you don't feel like cooking or you just, you may run out of groceries or whatever it may be, to be able just to grab something that's already done, of course, is just the convenience. And it's fresh food. It's not frozen meals that you're putting in the oven. This is actually fresh food people have cooked and put together for you according to what you request. And it tastes good and it's flavorful, and they deliver it on a weekly, sometimes several times a week they'll deliver to make sure it's fresh. Because that's one thing about the food here, because it's fresh, it goes bad quickly. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, because it doesn't have all the preservatives. It doesn't have all the chemicals in it. So.
Yeah, and you may have to shop more often for produce because of that as well. So keep that in mind. But again, this is just our numbers of a family of 3 and 4. We're spending over $500 just on groceries.
A family of 4 with 2 toddler girls. A family of 3 with 2 growing boys.
Yes. My boys are ages 8. Oh no, sorry, he just turned 9, 9, and 6. So growing.
Yes.
Energetic. Boys. Yes. That kind of gives you an idea of the major cost of living. Let's go ahead and talk about the expat community, and the digital nomad community, because I know that's important as well.
Yes.
Whenever you go somewhere new, community is important. And I know we're so conditioned to be individualistic or individualized, but you got to have community.
I mean, it's a good segue too from talking about like, what if something happens to me? You know, and like, have you built a network of individuals who you trust? I mean, everybody don't have to know where you live and know all of these things, but one of the important pieces to being a foreigner and living abroad is building community and building connection, so people know your face and know that you're in the community. If they don't see you in a while, hey, are you still here? Did you travel back home? So people can kind of check in on you. And one of the, man, I noticed this. I went to a conference back in the States in LA in October, and I met the group of business owners. They had a business together. It was a construction company, and they were Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, did y'all, y'all moved here and decided to start a business? And they're like, no, we met here. And I'm like, oh, okay, y'all met here. And I'm like, okay, so it's three of them. I said, so did any of y'all know? And they didn't know each other, but they seemed like they were just so close. Like they seemed like they were more than business partners. And they were like, well, no, we just found each other. And so then my brain is like, how did y'all find each other? Like, not even being from the same place back home. They were all from different places back in Russia. And groups, community. And it made me think, this has been going on for a long time. And this is how groups and people are able to come together. Even stateside, you see different people. Like, that's how Chinatowns are built in different places. And they build these massive businesses and commerce, and they share resources, and that's how important community is. But I felt it makes me think, oh, this is what we're creating here. You know, when as a foreigner, you have to be intentional about making connections. And because we're all here trying to do the same thing, most of us design a different life for ourselves, thrive and thrive and flourish in a different land, but ultimately rewire ourselves so we can be our full selves here.
Right. And
so when you find those type of people, the alignment you need, it's really important to align. And figure out how you can help each other. Because if something happens to you, Kelly, I hope you have people you can call. And then same for me. I need to know I got people that I can call in case something happens to even myself or my husband. Because that is a troubling thought for me. It does trouble me. But that community is very important.
And not only just people to call on here, if something happens to you, people who can contact your people back in the States.
Yes.
Like I've shared, and I know other people share their contact, people like their moms or parents' information with me. I've shared my, key contact, emergency contacts with them. So like that is important. And that's the importance of having community, people you can trust. Not only that, it's you're still getting adjusted to a new place. People who can help you if you need something, like, hey, where can I get my hair done? Where can I find this or find that? What is a good restaurant? Like, because you don't know. And this is such a big city, so many different businesses and places. You just don't know where to go, because it's like you can get overwhelmed a little bit. It's a lot. It can be a lot. So to be able to say, hey, or just hang out with people who are familiar with your story, your culture, just relate to. And if you don't speak Spanish, then people you could actually speak to and have social be in social settings with. That's all important to me. And there are a lot of different expats who started businesses, so you can support their businesses. Like, it's just, community is just a good thing. I know we're a part of several different communities. And there's also always events or activities they're posting around Colombia that we would not know about, but somebody knows about it, so they'll post it. So then we're able to take the kids. How would we know if we weren't a part of or connected to a community? And the communities are as simple as just WhatsApp groups. You don't have to be super active and talk to everybody, but you're in the group. You can keep abreast of what's going on. You can participate. And when they do have activities and events, being intentional about participating in those events that you enjoy, because that's how you meet people that will become your friends,
because there's already a likeness in what the activity
whatever it is.
Yes.
Right. So I know back in the States, I didn't care about meeting new friends. I have my friends. I could stay in the house. I'm good. But here, I was like, no, I have to make sure we get out. I have to make sure I meet people, and whoever organically we gravitate to each other. That's who it is. It is what it is. That's how we became friends,
Yes,
right? So
yes,
it's like, we were introduced by someone mutual that we knew
back home in the
States, right? And realized we were both here, and
realized we were like 7-10 minute walk from each other.
Exactly. So community is a big thing. Even the language exchanges,
Yes.
Let's talk about not just expat community. How about how we blend in and kind of try to intertwine with the Colombian community? There are Colombians who want to learn English, and we're trying to learn Spanish. They have a lot of exchanges, language exchanges, or just being able to make Colombian friends, period, by being in all these different communities. You may play sports together. You may do a lot of different things. So it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you speak, Kelly, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, how isolating it would be to not even try to go out and form community. Because I do believe there are people here who do that too. They just come here and, especially single people. Families too, though. Sometimes you can find yourself in a little box. So my family's here. I don't really need to go outside my house. So we speak English together here at home. But if you don't get out and try to mix and mingle within the community, you can find yourself in a very isolating kind of situation. And then isolation a lot of times can be the precipice to depression.
Yeah.
Depression. Yeah. So, you just have to be mindful of that. And I think community has always been important to me. But like you, back home is no new friends. We cool. I have a very small group of people. But moving makes you move different.
Yeah.
It makes you look at things differently. It makes you see the world differently. It makes you, I feel like sometimes even more approachable sometimes, because now you're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations that maybe back home you can go to an event, you and your friend, and you can just be you and your friend at this big event with a lot of people and y'all not talking to nobody. But here it's a little different. You're forcing yourself to speak to people and to build on that community.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I wanted to say something, but I forgot what I said, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it moving.
Okay.
It was at the top of my mind.
About community?
Yes, it was about community, but I forgot what it was. So maybe it'll come back to me and we'll circle back around. But, man, I hate when I do that.
It's okay. We'll come back to it.
Okay, so we talked a little bit, too, about family-friendly culture and values, and a little bit at the beginning because we talked about how close-knit the families are here in Colombia. And how they value children and how they value older people. So we talked also about how we see them out and about together and all of those things. Is there anything you want to add about family and cultural values here? I don't know if I know enough about the cultural values. I know the gist, like the overview, like I just gave. But I haven't really been able, I don't have any Colombian friends per se yet because of the language, of course. But I know you do. So do you have another perspective on family and friends, the culture and the values?
I think like I said earlier, they do pretty much a lot of things with their family. Now, don't get me wrong. Just like there's dysfunctional families back home, there's dysfunctional families here. And there are broken up families here too. I don't feel like they are as abundant here like back home, but you will see a lot of families come together and do a lot of things together. Whenever there are a lot of holidays here, y'all. A lot. I think Colombia is either third or fourth on the list of the country that has the most national holidays that are celebrated. And part of that is because of the Catholic culture here is so strong. They celebrate a lot of saints' days. So Saint Miguel, and I could be, excuse me if I'm not getting it grammatically correct. Not grammatically correct. I mean, if I'm not getting it correct based on the religious beliefs, but there are just a lot of saints' days here that are celebrated. And a lot of times those the kids are out of school, the families come together, they have dinners, they light candles to celebrate or in honor of whatever that saint day is. And it's just, it's a big thing here. I am going to also add, because pets become family to us.
Yeah.
The pets here are very much a part of the Colombian culture. And I'm going to, because we live in Medellin and I have not lived in any other place in Colombia, I'm going to specify that to Medellin. But the pets are definitely a part of the family. But man, what's so cool here, Kelly, is, and I know you've probably seen this before, but I feel like the people in the culture here, they love animals regardless.
Yeah.
If you go to, now for Americans, this is going to be a culture shock for some of y'all. Y'all go in a grocery store, y'all gonna see some people with their pets.
In the malls?
In the malls, you're gonna see people with their pets. In the food court, I'm gonna say that again. In the food court, you're gonna see some people with their pets. Now, being a former fur mama, I had 2 dogs at one time and recently lost our other baby. I love my pets when I had them, and I still love them to this day. But there's some places you're not gonna see me with my pets. I'm not going to be in the food court with a dog, but you will find that here. But not only that, I see people when I'm walking down the street, I'll see people come out like in their, like on the high rises in the buildings, they'll throw seeds out to the birds. Like not far from here, street, not too far from here. I used to see this person throw seeds out to the birds, and the birds would be on the little line like this, electrical line outside the window, and they would just fly and swoop and get the seeds. But also, people come and they'll leave water out in the grass for the birds to drink. For the dogs that are like the people who are walking their dogs, they will just, they may not have any pets themselves, but they will literally just bring bowls of water outside for animals to have water.
Yeah, I've seen a man in the park around the corner here where he had just seeds out, just feeding the birds, and the birds just come down. And so, I've never seen anyone throw them out, but I can see it. I can see that happening. Mm-hmm. Now it was a little bit of a shock to me. Okay, so I used to live in Arizona and in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, right? Mm-hmm. So that was my first encounter of people having their pets everywhere. Mm-hmm. So they would have them in the grocery stores because it was so hot. They didn't want to leave them in the car. So I understand that. But I was not used to them being in the grocery store because I was like, why? Why we have pets in the grocery? There's food here. Why we have pets in the grocery? Mm-hmm. Like, they're just walking. So that was my first experience where I had to get used to that type of thing. So when I moved here, it wasn't that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. Even though, it's a lot. It's a lot of people with dogs here. So if you're not a dog person, let me let you know. You better become one. But they're good dogs, though. They're not dogs that's going to run up and jump on you and bark at you. These are really well-maintained dogs. Yes. Like, they don't even have to be on leashes, and they do not bother you. So it's a different type of dog, so keep that in mind. But if you're not a dog person, it's something you would have to get adjusted to because you're going to experience dogs in probably every environment you go in because they're welcome in every environment. So I
haven't seen them in the movie theater yet. I haven't seen them, but I wouldn't be surprised if
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I've only been to the movies twice since I've been here, so I haven't had enough experiences to say, but I would not be surprised. I feel like wherever I go, it could be a dog anywhere, and just deal with that. It is what it is. Now that's a part of the culture, right?
And so because that's a part of the culture, and we're talking about walking a lot of places, be mindful. This is a dog-friendly town, so wherever you're walking around, just make sure you're looking on the ground. Yes. Because not everybody picks up after.
Not everybody.
They pet families.
Yes. So. Yes. Anything else about the culture and values of family or anything that we may, and again, we'll probably come back to this at a later time, but we just wanted to give a high level, and I know at this point we've been on here for over an hour and a half.
Yeah,
we didn't even expect to be on here that long. No. One last thing we wanted to kind of brush on, and we're not going to dive deep into it, but just healthcare and modern amenities. So a lot of times people think, oh, you go outside the United States, you're not going to get the best healthcare, yada, 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 yada. I want to say, from a person who has had experience getting surgery in Panama, that was the best experience I had with healthcare ever in my life.
Wow.
Ever in my life. I was like, after that experience, even just going to the doctor beforehand, the consultations and how they handled the whole process, I said I would never, if it was up to me, I would never have another surgery or do anything major in the United States ever again. I will always go outside.
I can
the
see
United
that.
States. Even here in Colombia, in Medellin, going to the doctors. I've had a doctor come to the house, and then I've actually gone to
going to doctors. The doctor's coming to you.
So we'll talk about that. So we have travel insurance, and so therefore we just pay out of pocket if there's something going on. So the kids, kind of got a little sick. So I had a doctor come to the house, and then eventually had to go to a pediatrician. But both experiences were top notch, superb. They check on you, follow up with you, like they spend as much time as they need with you. It's not like the doctor's 5 minutes, you're out, you can't even talk to them, you don't really understand what's going on. No, they sit down, they make sure you understand, they're explaining everything, they're giving you options. And the facilities are like top notch when I've gone to the doctor. Even when they come to the house now, this is a culture where doctors and nurses and dentists, they will all come to your house because they feel like they'd rather you not contaminate the public. They will just come to you. And if you, especially if you're really, really sick, can't get out of bed.
The dentist will come to?
Yeah, dentists will come to you.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't had one come to me, but
okay.
But I mean, again, they'd rather them come to you so that you don't make anybody else sick outside. Or if you're just too sick to get out of bed, you shouldn't have to drag yourself to an ER, urgent care or a doctor's office. And also, you can get appointments same day.
Facts.
Or within a day or two, not weeks, months out when you got something going on. You got a rash. Well, it's happening today. It's going to be gone by next month when I get to a dermatologist. I need to see somebody within the next day or two, so they can see what's going on, right? That's a big difference, a big shift.
It's a huge shift.
And even though I paid for those things out of pocket, they still were not that expensive. So for both of my boys to be seen and basically have a physical in the house, I paid like $100, maybe a little bit over. I was seen as well, so that was 3 people. So I want to say like maybe $120 out of pocket for a doctor and a nurse to come. And my son got a breathing treatment, and we got prescriptions,
all of that.
And even when I went to the pediatrician's office, she had prescriptions in her office. So she was like, okay, this is what you should give them, and just pulled it out her drawer. I didn't have to go to a pharmacy and spend anything extra. She just gave it to us.
I believe it. That's been my experience. And before moving abroad, I think that was one of my concerns also too, because I was pregnant moving abroad. And so I'm I'm very loyal to my medical professionals backstage side. When I tell you they've been with me for over 10 years, I'm very, very loyal. And when I left and I had the experience, I had natural births in Mexico, and I had a beautiful natural birthing team and a fraction of the cost of what it would have been in a hospital in the United States. When I say a fraction, I mean like a fraction, and we can get into that another time. But going to a medical professional and having them, we make an appointment for one child, but they notice another child is sniffling. Let me check them too. They offer. They don't say, okay, I see that your child, do you want to make an appointment for them? Come back in 2 days because they're trying to bill insurance. They're like, no, I'm going to treat you as a family. And the fact that I have my family doctor's number in my phone, personal number, I can call him, I can text him, and sometimes I'm like, hey, send a picture of a little rash or a breakout of my daughter's. Hey, this is what's going on. Can I schedule an appointment? And he'll say, I don't think we need an appointment. She'll be fine. This is what this is. Do a diagnosis, kind of like a teledoc. I'm not paying for this though. And he'll say, but here's a prescription, and go get the prescription.
Right.
I mean, it's just another level of care. And if you want me to come to your house, I'll still come to your house. But I can tell that this is what this is. You don't need to see me, but I can still come if you want me to. And it's just a different level. You don't feel like a number. You actually feel like a person.
Yeah.
Kelly, there was one time I was in a doctor's office with my daughter. I don't remember which one it was at the time, probably Shiloh, because she had a lot of respiratory stuff going on at the time. I had my husband who could not physically be there. I had him on the phone, FaceTiming, and the doctor said, hey, I heard him sniffling, or I heard him something on the phone. What's going on? I told him what was going on with my husband. He said, oh, okay. Reached in the drawer. I got something for that. Take that to him. He did not have to do that.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of get a little worked up about it, a little emotional, because it's like, man, the type of money that we pay back home for the care that we get, it's like there's another level of care that's not just bedside manner, that's not just, okay, schedule an appointment. It's from a human place. Like I care. Like I heard something else was going on. Is everything okay? Okay, let me, and not charging for that. Just like, I care for your family.
I care about you as a person and want to make sure you're okay. Genuinely.
And
I'm not just pushing off medication. You know, so that's the other thing too. There are a lot of holistic approaches here, and it's easy to get like a lot of herbs and natural, you know,
oils,
herbs. It's just
tinctures.
It's an abundance.
Yes.
If you know what you're looking for and know where to go, and it's not even that hard when you know where to go. You know, you just need to know what you need and maybe know what it is in Spanish. There are open markets here who sell this kind of stuff daily, all day long. It's no big deal. It's not a problem. It's here. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. The other thing is there's also, and this is in other countries as well, but there are places here you can go to and get like a full body workup. And this is something I really want to do.
Yes.
Where you get worked up from head to toe. You spend there all day and get everything done for like $600. You know how much that would cost? That would probably be our copay in the States, if that.
100%.
Yes. But this is to get everything done, know from head to toe what's going on with you internally, externally, whatever. I was like, oh, I'm here for it. I want to do it, and it's going to happen eventually. I just got to make it happen. But I'm just loving that. Loving it. So that is a little bit about healthcare there. Now, as far as insurance is concerned, they do have insurance that you can get here in Colombia if you have your residency or your temporary residency. We haven't tapped into that yet. I'm thinking about it. We haven't looked into it yet but we still have our travel insurance because you have to have that. It's mandatory in order to even get your visa. But from what I understand, once you get into a plan, like it's not, once you have a healthcare plan, it is very, very, very cheap or very reasonable. I should call it cheap. Cost effective.
It's very cost effective.
So I definitely want to look into it and see how much it is per month for a family of 3. So eventually I'll get to that. But yeah, like I couldn't ask for more. You know, there's dentist offices in the malls, on the streets. There's eyeglass places in the malls. Like you could just pop in and be like, hey, I need a filling, or I need a cleaning. You get it done right then and there. You don't have to schedule an appointment. I need an eye exam. You get it right then and there, and your glasses, and it's not that big of a deal. It's not that complicated. Lab work, you walk right in. I need to get a blood drawn. You know, I went to get blood drawn in the States, paid for it out of my pocket at one of the, local, well-known labs. You know, they wouldn't give me my results. It had to go to a doctor. I said, I requested it. I'm paying for it. Why can't I have my results? I said, you know what? I'll just wait till I get back out the country because I know I will get my results within a day or 2 or whatever. Electronically sent to my email. I ain't got no problems. Whatever I need, it gets done. It's not that complicated.
I will say experiencing healthcare outside of the U.S. has made me become a bigger advocate when I need healthcare while I'm in the U.S. There was I'll probably use that example for another day when we dig deep into healthcare, but there was a situation where I really had to advocate because I'm like, this doesn't make sense, like the process. And the doctor even looked at me like, oh, okay, you kind of know what you're talking about. Because like, I don't need to schedule another appointment for you to give me another prescription.
Right.
Just write the prescription.
Right.
I'm here today. If you're thinking that it could potentially lead to me getting another prescription, and I'm telling you I'm paying out of pocket, why would I schedule another appointment to pay another $275 out of pocket for urgent care for you to give me a prescription? Just write a prescription. It doesn't make sense. And it's just, I've become a bigger advocate because I see now how systematic our healthcare system is, and it's also very opportunistic on people who have health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I've become a bigger advocate for behalf of my family when it comes to healthcare.
Yeah, and I know there are some families out there who have aging parents or may have health issues themselves, and they want to move out of the country, but that is a major concern. I personally know someone who she wants to move out of the country, but she takes care of her mother who has health issues, and her mother is fine with moving, but she has to make sure she moves to a country where she can have the right doctors, and whatever her mom needs, that those doctors are there. I even know a family with a young child who has health issues, and they had to make sure they could find the doctor, and they were able to find a doctor just on their scouting trip here. They were able to find a doctor who could treat their daughter for her condition, and they felt comfortable making a decision to go ahead and move because that was in place. That's a big deal. That's especially when you have a child or someone in your family who has chronic health issues. And this is a place where you will be able to get the care you need, and it's quality care at a reasonable price.
Fraction of what we
whether you're paying out of pocket or not, you could afford to do it. Even if I had an emergency and, had to go to the hospital, I know I can cover that bill with a credit card. You cannot say that in the States. You're going to be billed, and then they're going to try to, do this and do that. Maybe if you can't pay it, they coming after you for collect. Like, really? For healthcare? I just want to be alive. I just want to be healthy. I mean, really, it shouldn't be that serious. It shouldn't be. But that's a little bit about healthcare.
I would just say this, even a lot of the things that we need prescription for back home, you don't even need a prescription. You just go to the pharmacy. And
so that's the other thing. Pharmacies are in abundance. And it's not just your major pharmacies. Like at home, we got Walgreens, CVS, yada, yada. No, these are mom and pop pharmacies. You can find several pharmacies on one street. Walk up to them and tell them. You don't even have to go to the doctor sometimes. Tell them, hey, I have cold in my chest. I'm coughing. They'll say, okay, here you go. This is what you need, and give you what you need right then and there.
Are you paying for it? But
you're paying for the medication, of course. But I'm just saying, you don't even have to go to the doctor to pay for the doctor to get a diagnosis.
True.
Just walk up and say, this is what is going on. What do you have available for this? And they're going to give you something that they have available for that, right?
Yeah.
And that's everywhere. It's not hard to find a pharmacy anywhere, right? So anything else about healthcare you want to talk about before we wrap it all up? Because
I would just say, if it's anybody who is listening who is a little reluctant about getting healthcare from a third world country, I would say it's probably not nearly what you imagine it to be, and you would be surprised at the level of care you can get.
I don't even consider Colombia a third world country anymore. Like, I know we are conditioned to say that in the United States. We're conditioned to think that, but being here and living here is not. It's not. Like, when you think of third world, you think of
even Mexico. It's not.
You think of people who destitute, like they barely making it. No, that's not. I feel like more people here are thriving probably than they are in the States. Yes, you do have people of lower income, people who are homeless. You still got those populations. That's everywhere you go. However, it don't look the same. Because even when I see people in lower economic conditions, they still feel like they have some type of joy in their lives.
They don't look hopeless.
They don't look hopeless. They don't look like, woe is me and nothing ever is going to be okay for me. Because you have that mentality from some people in the United States who are in that position. Like, this is my life. Ain't nothing, I can't even think outside this box. This is it. This is what it's always going to be. This is what I'm training the next generation for, yada, yada, yada. Here is, and I don't know if it's because of the cultural family aspect where they still are very close knit and they still enjoy life. You know what I mean? They're still gonna go out and dance. They still gonna, go for a drink or whatever and have a good time. They still gonna get together and have dinners. There's still joy in these people's lives. And again, this is not a blanket statement. I don't know everybody, in those positions, but this is just from what I've observed.
Yes.
That versus what I've observed in the United States from the same kind of class category, where they're just sitting around doing absolutely nothing. Here, if you have a person who needs some money, they're gonna be juggling something, they're gonna be painting themselves as something, they're gonna be acting and performing for they're gonna wash some windows, they're gonna sell some candy, they're doing something to try to get money. They're not just holding their hand out or sitting down doing nothing. That is one thing I could definitely say. It's a difference.
It's a difference.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
Wrapping this up.
We're wrapping this up. I think we've been
episode one.
Episode one has been long enough. Our video went out, but that's okay. Hopefully our next one it will be okay. We'll have to work out the kinks, but this is episode one. Why so many families are moving to Medellin and choosing Medellin over the U.S.
We talked about weather. We talked about the cost. We talked about community. We talked about family orientedness and healthcare, and a lot more in between there. And if you're thinking about and considering visiting Medellin, this is our little plug to say, do it.
Yep, this is our plug. And again, we'll be here every Friday.
Yes.
Giving you more information. If you all have any questions, put it out there in the chat. Message us, and we will try to get those answers for you and bring more information to you in the future. So that's all we have for today.
Signing out. This is Mamas Beyond the Matrix.
And this is Kellie and
Johna.
And we will see you next week. Bye.